the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Today we are going to discuss a very brief summary of the novel we are going to read this year. In this case, let me introduce you to the authors, Marianne Shaffer, who was born in West Virginia in 1934. Annie Barrows was born in and raised in California, right? Shaffer was Annie Barrows' aunt, her mother's sister. The stories that her mother and aunt shared with each other became part of Annie's imagination, and many details found their way into the novel. What we know is that Marianne Shaffer died, and it was Annie Barrows, the one who continued with the novel. In order to get the most of this novel, we need to understand the context, that is, time and place. So let's start with place. The story takes place in Guernsey. Guernsey is the second largest of the Channel Islands, although in reality is actually a relatively small island, being around 15 kilometers in length and a mere 5 kilometers wide. So you can imagine that it is very small. Guernsey is situated some 100 kilometers from the southern shoreline of England, right? And just 50 kilometers from northern France. So it's nearer France than the United Kingdom. Guernsey is divided into a total of 10 parishes. You know that parishes are small administrative districts, typically having its own church and priest or pastor. So you can imagine that it is a very small island. World War II was just beginning when the Germans suddenly landed on the tiny Channel Island of Guernsey. The islanders who did not evacuate were set face to face with the enemy in their sparse 25 square meters of territory. So that means that they had to live with the enemy. They carried on with their lives as best they could, but as food became more scarce and as German rules became more complicated, the islanders had to become more resourceful. One of the neighbors had come into the possession of a contraband pig and invited a group of friends and other neighbors to a secret party to participate in a grand meal. It was a lovely moment in an otherwise grim time. Later that evening, as the group made their way home, they were stopped by a German patrol. They were clearly in violation of curfew. Elizabeth, a member of the group, we have her here on the left, took charge of her sated, slightly tipsy, I would say a little drunk friends, and became their spokesperson. To prevent their arrest, she invented the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society on the spot. Astonishingly, the Germans excused them and allowed them to go home. After the war, journalist Juliet Ashton became aware of the islanders' stories through shared correspondence. The more letters she received, the more interested she became in the letter, and that is, the islanders. Hoping to write a new book, Juliet moved to Guernsey to investigate. Her initial curiosity and admiration eventually turned into a real love for the people and the islands. This charming and touching story reveals the emotional details of the harsh 5-year-long German occupation of this tiny British protectorate. This is a new story to add to the already substantial catalog of World War II tales. And that's all for today. This is going to be continued in next presentation as we get along with the story.